The Black Series catback from MBRP will be for the 21 and newer Bronco owners looking for a combination of a deep yet mild tone along with the unique appearance. Now the Black Series does combine that stealthy black powder coat with the aluminized steel build, 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, and all of it will exit out of your large 4-inch tip, all for right around that mid $500 price point. Install is going to be a bolt-on job here, guys. Site's going to call it a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Maybe an hour or so to complete from start to finish, but hang with me for a bit and we'll show you how it's done later in the video. So if you didn't know, the Black Series from MBRP starts out life as the company's installer series system, which is basically the aluminized steel catback. And then at that point, MBRP proceeds to powder coat just about everything from the axle to the rear of the Bronco. Now, this system will apply to both the 2 and 4-door 21 and newer Broncos, along with the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder or the 2.7 liter 6-cylinder. Now the sound clips you guys heard at the top of this video was with our 2.7 liter shop truck. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, I think the MBRP is super mellow, which some people might actually love while others might prefer a little bit more bark. So what's that all mean? Well, breaking out our Wake the Neighbor scale, I have the Black Series coming in at a very soft 3 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Personally, I'm a less is more guy when it comes to the EcoBoost engine and aftermarket exhaust system, so therefore I think this system hits all the right notes. But let's dive a little bit deeper into the construction and build here at the Black Series because this is a unique system in the lineup. Now again, we talked about this system starting life as the installer series along with that more affordable aluminized steel, which does take the place of the more expensive stainless steel. Now, as you guys can see, MBRP does give the axle back portion here, basically all of this part, the satin black powder coat, a little bit of a texture to it here, which is gonna give the system a very cool look for one, but secondly, it's also gonna help protect this particular portion of that aluminized steel build from corrosion over time. It's gonna act as kind of a barrier. Now, obviously, this portion of the system is kind of out of luck. You might see some surface corrosion over time if you live in a salty or snowy climate. But materials aside, the Black Series will pack that full 3-inch mandrel bent tubing from tip to tip here, guys. Factory style flange just after the cat. You're also looking at a straight through design muffler, which should help a lot of flow. And then finally, you got the 4-inch tip embossed with that MBRP logo. Now, personally, with this thing installed, I would have liked to have seen MBRP kind of tuck that tip up a little bit higher, as it might get banged up a little bit if you do some hardcore wheeling. Now, aside from that, the catback does utilize the factory hanger locations, which again will make this a very easy install. Now, just a quick heads up here, guys, if you're not too crazy about that aluminized steel build, maybe you do prefer something that's a full stainless steel option, well, MBRP does offer both their XP and their Pro version instead. XP is going to utilize 409 grade stainless, the Pro is going to utilize that 304 grade stainless material, and both of those systems, because of that stainless build, do get a corresponding lifetime warranty. Now, before we get into the install, one thing that MBRP does also claim with this system is that it is going to increase your overall flow by 35% on the 2.7 engine and a whopping 93% on the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, which in turn should lead to some smaller gains again, as claimed by MBRP. Now, in my experience, guys, catback like this typically is going to be a sound modification first, and maybe any added performance will just come as a little bonus. But what do you say we shift our focus over to the install? And again, very simple bolt-on design, guys. No cutting, no drilling, no permanent modification. But to give you a better idea of just how this one will go down, check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown now.
Tools needed for this installation: pry bar, exhaust grommet removal tool, PB blaster, 3/8 swivel, 5/16 Allen, 10 millimeter, 15 millimeter sockets, 3/8 electric impact gun. First thing we're going to do, now that we have our truck up on the lift, is we're going to spray our rubber exhaust grommets here that hold our muffler up. If you do have to put your truck up, jack it up, make sure you use jack stands. In this case, with this vehicle being the height, you might even be able to lay on the ground and do it. So I'm going to spray some PB Blaster on our 2 grommets. Now, I'm going to get my 15 millimeter and loosen the axle clamp up that holds the muffler on. Now I'm going to take my 15 millimeter on my impact gun, loosen our clamp here, I'm not going to remove the nut. All you got to do is loosen it. The clamp is welded to the pipe there. Next, we're going to start removing our rubber hangers that hold the exhaust up. Now I'm going to use our exhaust grommet removal tool. If you don't have this, you can use a pry bar, wedge it in there, you'll be able to pop it off. I'm going to get this behind there. Pop this grommet off. Now we'll remove the other one, and then we'll start removing our muffler. Now we're going to remove this one here. I'm going to start removing it and hold the muffler. Pull my tool out of the way. Now that we have that, I'm going to be able to give the muffler wiggle and pull up and down, side to side, and our exhaust is removed. Now that we got our muffler off, we're going to remove our rubber hanger mount here that holds our axle pipe up. I'm going to take a pry bar. It's kind of hard to get in there with my exhaust removal tool, and slide this off, holding the pipe so it don't hit me in the head, and we're going to drop it down. So now that we have our grommet removed back there, holding our exhaust up, I'm going to remove our two 15 millimeters up here at our flange. And once I get them off, we're going to take off our two 10 millimeters here that hold our flange pipe up. We're going to end up reusing this part of the flange mount, and the other pipe is going to, or the other bracket's going to slide into that. So you want to make sure when you take them off, you hold on to it. Now that I have the two 15 millimeters loose and off, and I have the 10 millimeters in this bracket off, I'm going to lift up, slide this pipe off. It does have a gasket on the flange. We're going to leave that on there for now. I'm going to pull this pipe right back out over the rear, and our old exhaust is removed. So now that we have our old exhaust off, I'm going to start by reinstalling the bracket that we took off earlier. This just pops off the other flange pipe. We're going to put this back on using the factory hardware. I'm going to start the two 10 millimeter bolts. Tighten them up with our gun. So now we have our bracket on. We're going to reuse our gasket from the factory on our flange, plus the hardware that we have, or our factory hardware. We're not going to change that. I'm going to start by installing our flange and sliding our hanger in. So get our two 15 millimeters started. 15 millimeter. For now, I'm going to get them tightened up. Our bracket's in. Now we'll go on to our mid pipe. Next, we're going to take our mid pipe. I'm going to stick it through our hanger, our rubber grommet up top, and get that started. Once I get that in place, then we'll go and install our pipe. I already stuck my clamp on. I'm going to take my 15 mil. I'm only going to snug it a little bit because we're going to need to be able to move this. So once we get the rest of the exhaust on, we can adjust for fitment. So I'm going to leave it just like that until I'm ready, and then we'll tighten from front to back. Now we're going to take our clamp, slide it over our pipe, And we're going to stick our axle pipe onto that piece and slide it down in. And like I said again, I'm going to slide the clamp over and snug it for now until we get the exhaust all fitted up and where the tailpipe's going to be. Then we can make sure everything's clearance and start tightening from front to back. I'm just going to snug it for now, just so we can move it all around. Now we'll install our muffler. Now that we got our axle pipe on, I'm going to take our muffler. I slid my clamp over it. I'm going to start it into the hanger. That's the factory hanger. We didn't take any off. Sometimes they're a pain in the butt to get on, but I used a little grease on this one. The powder coat kind of stops it a little bit. Now we'll slide our muffler over our axle pipe. And we'll let it hang here for now until I get it tightened up. I'm going to take my 15 mil, kind of get it where I think it's going to be. And again, I left everything loose so that I can eyeball everything. So for now, that's fine until we get everything straight. I get the back, make sure there's clearance. Now we'll put our tip on. So now I'm going to stick my clamp on and then stick our tailpipe on. I'm going to slide it through the rubber grommet first. And with the powder coat, it makes it tough. Now I'm going to stick my pipe into our muffler. Get it right where I want it for now to hold it up until I eyeball everything. And we'll tighten our clamp. Now I'm going to tighten my clamp once I got the muffler level. I'm going to make that pretty good and tight. Last, we'll put our tip on. This is powder coated, so I had to sand this and sand the inside of the tip to get it to fit. You're going to find that when you do these exhausts, sometimes if the powder coat's too thick, don't be afraid to take some sandpaper and sand it. Now we're going to put our tip on. I had to take some sandpaper, scuff the powder coat off of the inside of this and the outside of that. Don't hesitate to do it on these exhaust systems that come powder coated. You might find that the inside diameter of the pipe, they might have powder coated it and it might not slide on. So I did that already on this one to get it to slide on and fit. I'm going to get it so that the tip looks straight. Push it on. I'm going to take my Allen head with my gun. Tighten our tip up. Now we'll go back to the front and work our way back and give the rest of our clamps a good tightening so that everything stays in place and look for fitment. I have our front 15 millimeters tight, our two 10 millimeters are tight. I'm going to tighten our clamp here with our mid pipe. I got that good and tight. I checked for fitment. Everything looks straight and square and level. Next, I'll tighten the two back ones. Next, the one at the muffler. That wraps up this review of our MBRP Black Series Cat Back Exhaust for 21 to 22 Broncos. Thanks for watching, and for all things Bronco, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.